Hey there, welcome to Millennium Milestone Presents, a site dedicated to storytelling in books, movies, video games, and other exciting genres, where the final frontier has finally taken us to whatever this is. So I'm back. I've crawled back from the depths of the Upside Down to go into something else a little above and beyond, to Star Trek Starfleet Academy. And boy, am I not eager to get into this. But here we are, Episode 1. Episode 1 opens with a narrator explaining that Earth was destroyed by the burn. The mother and child are looking at the stars, speaking in a language that seems to be understood only to themselves, but it becomes apparent that this mother was given food by someone who apparently did it by very devious means. In other words, he broke the law. So now mother and child are taken to Federation Court to stand trial as the so-called friend, Braca, arrives and is also sentenced to a penal colony along with the mother as well. Also present at this trial is a woman named Nayla, who takes on the ward of a young boy who is involved in this whole situation. However, the boy is a lot more sneakier than you think when he tricks Shayla into looking for his toy bear and swipes her badge to override the computer systems, hack it, leave, and run off to never be seen for 15 years. Totally not a ripoff of a Star Trek 2009 movie at all. So right off the bat, we're given the fatherless boy, no father involved, bad man, bad example to everyone, and only the motherly figure can help the boy, save him, and bring him back from the depths of darkness that he's in. As for Nyla, something that is very interesting about her story is that she takes exception to having to do all this bad stuff that she did that caused all this, so she resigns from Starfleet and is asked back 15 years later to become Chancellor of Starfleet Academy. What a reward for her bravery. Yay. In the meantime, time catches up with Caleb, who is seemingly captured and brought to his planet where he believes his mother is being held prisoner, only to find out she's not there. He gets taken into custody anyways, and of course this brings both him and his new motherly figure, Chancellor Nyla, to bring him back to Starfleet Academy, where if he wants to get out of trouble, he's got to go serve there. So that kind of sums up the opening for Star Trek Starfleet Academy Episode 1. I'm not going to get into specific more details beyond this because, quite frankly, I already know from hearing from guys like Neurotic, Critical Drinker, anybody else that's watched on the internet, that this is quite the garbage show that I've ever seen. And I don't say that because, of the simply these typical things that's said on the internet, but I say this because looking at this from a writing standpoint, it absolutely sucks. I have never seen a show that is so devoted to activism in any way possible, and I know this has been brought up in many different shows, going from The Acolyte to The Last of Us and many other shows, but maybe to articulate this very clearly why I feel strongly about this. It's one thing when you present activism or any type of theme that's relevant to history, even in the present day, but it's another when it's a one-sided conversation when only one side is right and the other side is wrong. There are many shows that have touched on different themes and have done a better job of making sure that a theme is looked at from both sides of the same coin, not just simply a one-sided argument. Shows like The Sopranos, Game of Thrones, or even an old classic TV show like All in the Family have tackled themes of the system or, family dynamics in ways that didn't necessarily made one side wrong or the other. And that's my biggest problem, again, with Starfleet Academy. It is a woke, beyond anything show that doesn't give you all facets of life as it really is. And yes, I get it. The other side of the coin is not an easy one to tackle if you're a writer in Hollywood, but that's not your place to decide what we should understand or not understand. For instance, let's focus on Chancellor Nayla. She's a woman in power, fine. I've seen that done with Captain Janeway, and she was an excellent character. Not the best of the other Star Trek captains we've had, but the problem I have with her right off the bat is, name me a moment besides the opening episode here where she has been shown that she was wrong in a judgment that she made or a call. So far, it is everything that she says is the right thing no matter what. And a lot of what she's saying is tipped towards the idea of ideologies that we don't all agree with. And again, I am not against touching on thematic themes that touch social issues. But if you're going to present them, you need to present more than one side of the facet here. One example I'll throw out there is that of the show Breaking Bad. You have Walter White, who is a teacher who knows chemistry. And as everybody knows, Walter got into the world of making fentanyl. Now, on one side, it's very clear this is a bad idea. He shouldn't be doing this. But on the flip side, you have this dynamic where he's dying. He wants to provide something for his family. And then even further on in this show, you are presented with something else. How this is corrupting his soul as farther he gets into this. So once again, this is an example where you can show something that is not necessarily the right thing, but you understand it from both sides of the coin. Now let's take our attention to Caleb, the other main character of the story. And I don't have a problem with Caleb per se, but I can't help but notice that they went for a serious thirst trap with this character, like in every way possible. Like, this is basically the Acolyte's Keemer dialed up to 11 and beyond. Like, I get that guys are supposed to be incredibly fit for Starfleet Academy, but this is kind of overboard to the point that he might as well be playing a racial swapped Superman while we're at it. But that's not even really the problem in itself. What I do find problematic is the way he is characterized throughout the show as this bumbling idiot with intelligence. And on top of that, it seems like every moment they take an opportunity to take jabs at this, at least on the surface, seemingly manly man, but then give him this sort of, oh, he's a quiet, in touch with his feminine side personality, which is not a character I look at in any way with a positive tone.
Space, the final frontier.
Then the other thing that I'm noticing that's missing from this series is the space exploration aspect of it. I get that Star Trek does delve into thematic issues, but this is lacking in the space mystery aspect that I really think needs to be touched on more so. As for the cast, well, if they were going for diverse, well, they really went for the fence and beyond with diverse here. You got everything from Jem'Hadars that are with binary pronouns to Klingons that don't believe in Klingon beliefs at all in here. You even have a lot of interesting male characters that are also in this, not almost thirst traps again, like Caleb, but again, a lot of the male characters are driven in as fall in line with women empathy before you throw in your macho ideals in this. So it's not exactly the best stellar cast I've seen. In fact, I think this is the worst cast I've seen for a Star Trek show in quite some time. I mean, I have not watched the Discovery or even Strange New Worlds, and I have to admit that even with those shows, if I watched them, this really takes the cake.
Damn it! Damn you!
So it is with a heavy heart that I express, just as much as others have on the internet, about Star Trek in its current state. It's dead. It's buried 6 feet under and then some, and not likely to come back with the current kind of writers that we have. And it is really sad that this is the state that Star Trek has fallen to, as well as Star Wars and many properties that we've held dear for many years. Well, those are my thoughts on Star Trek Starfleet Academy. As you could tell, I really hated this show. It made me gag quite a few times. I don't know if any of you could possibly sum up a good reason the show is that good. I'm all ears if you can throw something down in the comments down below. Otherwise, you best better believe I'll be back.